Why are adults so hooked on alcohol? Up. Just skip it all together and your life will be better. I only realized this after heavy drinking until the age of 40. Then quitting. Having an alcoholic parent can be deeply traumatic, and it's entirely understandable and valid that it would have a huge impact on your perception of alcohol as a whole. I think it's a very complex subject, but there's nothing wrong with feeling the way you do about it. I thought the exact same as you when I was 15. Now I like it just fine. I'm not saying you'll inevitably start to like it at some point. Just be aware that your perspective on it is very skewed. If you never want to touch alcohol, that's absolutely fine, but it can be fun in moderation. Many people seem to think that there's no middle ground between teetotal and raging alcoholic. A controlled amount of alcohol feels really good. As with anything, if you get stupid with it, it can be dangerous, but if you control yourself, then you'll feel happy. Same as any drug. It seems like you have not understood why people take drugs. It makes them feel great and happy. Life is hard for a lot of people and they are looking for an escape. Drugs and alcohol provide that. There are latent societal pressures that prevent people from acting a certain way. Alcohol makes you not care about the societal standards and is a clever excuse to not abide by them. In a building where nobody is abiding by them, I think it's just a form of escapism. Like many other things, if you just live your life in your own way and don't really care what others think, there's no real need for alcohol. The only times I've felt like I wanted it are times when I'm feeling societally pressured and I want to not feel that pressure. Afraid to dance? White Claws. Afraid to come out as trans? Vodka. Lots of vodka. That's my personal story. Now that I'm out and living authentically, I have no desire for alcohol. I've broken into my escapist fantasy and am the person I was escaping to. It's great. I drink a bit, a lot less than I used to. But my 18-year-old, legal age here, is not in the slightest bit interested in drinking even at their own party. Societally, young people are drinking far less than ever before and I very much encourage this. I've drunk as a coping mechanism, as pain relief and just for fun, but these old bones don't like a 3-day hangover, so it's pretty rare for me to drink that much anymore too. Sounds like you've got your priorities straight. I would encourage you to never start drinking. And if your friends pressure you to, then it's possibly time to look for new friends. Alcohol just seems to be a toxic relationship that always ends up creating problems for everyone. Whether it be drunk texts to your exes, DUIs, or just general assholery. As someone nearly 3 times your age, I can safely say that none of this has ever happened to me or anyone I know. I think you're lumping in alcoholics and people who get absolutely plastered with people who enjoy having a couple drinks once in a while. I'm honestly a bit curious too. I've seen people challenge others to drink. Inside my head, I was wondering for what? I'm almost 40 now and I don't really drink growing up. Just never fond of it. I drink wine occasionally and pairing it with food. I prefer that way. Also, not sure if it's true. Recently I watched a sommelier, he was a doctor, video on YT that our brain is still developed until the mid-20s. Drinking excessively in the early 20s will affect the development. Don't quote me on this. I'll see if I can still find the video in case anyone is wondering. It's a minor escape. Like any drug, life can be very, very hard. And these things offer a temporary getaway from the stress. They break up the monotony and make your troubles seem less important for that brief moment. However, they're all a really slippery slope. The more you do it, the more reasons you'll find to do it, and the less it'll help each time. This leads to you not only doing it more often, but more severely. A lot of people have a really hard time regulating this, especially when mental illness like depression come into play. I am 50 years older than you. If you figure it out, clue me in please. In small amounts, alcohol feels fun and makes other things fun. It's the same reason people do any drug. The problems pop up when people develop an addictive dependency on it. Even if they're not dependent on it, even without dependency, it's easy to get into trouble with it. One of the first things it hampers is your ability to make rational decisions. Decisions like how much more you should have and when you should stop. To be 100% honest, with a history of alcoholism in your family, I recommend you just don't drink at all. Most people will be cool with it if you say people in your family have trouble with alcohol and you don't get judgy about moderate, controlled drinking. That doesn't apply to a person acting bad or getting too drunk. Judge all you want in that case. I think it's a generational thing. Generation Z is the first generation in history which grew up surrounded by ubiquitous entertainment. We don't need to force ourselves to hang around other people to alleviate boredom. So we don't need to force ourselves to drink alcohol. People older than us usually got hooked up on alcohol in social settings because alcohol makes people less anxious in social settings. I'm 56 and don't get it either. I had a phase where I tried it, got drunken with friends, but it wasn't something I really enjoyed, so I stopped. And since I'm not used to drinking, I feel effects from very little. And I honestly don't like the taste. People are okay and thankful with it when I'm the designated driver. But when I'm not, they often react irritated, like I'm weird. My son is 17, has tested it. Beer is legal with 16 in Germany, and doesn't like it either, and is self-confident enough to not let it bother him. I started drinking at 13, quit at 26. I realized early on that I have to look at alcohol as an allergy the second I have a sip of it. It makes my blood itchy and I need to have a little bit more, and on and it goes. Then I started getting suicidal car accidents, arrested, started beating people up, started getting beat up. I had horrible relationships with my family, with girlfriends and wives. I am almost 40 now and would definitely say my life has been awesome without drugs and alcohol. My wife and I both don't drink or do drugs, and we are definitely a lot better off for it. Dude, I'm in my 30s and I don't understand it. It's a complete waste of money and it has more problems than it's worth. Not all adults. Walk your own path. It's an addictive substance that's massively normalized in the culture. Most people don't recognize that they have a problem because it's so normalized. Don't start drinking. It doesn't do any good for anyone, and wastes a bunch of money. I'm 39, I don't get it either. It causes more harm than good.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.